All right, hey class. I want to spend a few minutes outlining some of the tasks that you're going to have to complete for this week's portion of the final project. And so to begin with, the first thing that you're going to need to do is create a Google Doc. I know you've all been working in your blogs for most of the assignments this semester, but I thought it'd be a little bit easier since some of you have voiced some frustration with some of the formatting issues that you're finding in the blog. I wanted to remove some of those barriers for this aspect of the project and allow you just to work within a Google Doc. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing you need to do is log into your email. And then once you've logged into your Gmail, you'll go over here and you'll navigate down to your drive. And your drive will then open up. This should be the same place where you created some drawings earlier in the semester. And then you're going to click on Create. And then under Create, you're going to hit Document. And then this is going to create a new untitled document. Once you have this untitled document, you could just call this, this class is bmkt 132 final project, and then I would maybe put your last name, something like that. So that would be mine. So I'll hit OK. And then you're ready. So this basically functions just like a Microsoft Word document. You have file, you have edit, you have view, you have insert. You can insert drawings directly from your drawings, which is pretty useful. You can insert images. You can format. You've got your basic tools for word count, research, spelling, that sort of thing. You can insert tables. And then there's some more add-ons that you can go and explore if you choose to. But basically, when you start typing in here, the beautiful thing is if you just close this after I typed, that's closed. I go back down into my drive, and it's going to show up down here towards the bottom. It's going to be, let's see, BMK final project. I click that open, and what I typed is automatically there. So you don't have to do any save. You don't have to do any save as. If you want to rename the document, you just click up here and you can rename the document. And that's basically a quick tutorial for Google Docs. If you have any specific questions with Google Docs, feel free to email me, stop by my office, let me know, and I'm happy to help you out with any difficulties that you might be having. Overall, I think that you'll find it's a little bit easier to use Google Docs, especially when we're doing something that's more text intensive, as most of this project will be. So, moving on to the project, I'd like to go through and talk about part one. So you probably can't see this yet, but it should be available here within the next hour or so. This is the final project, and you can see it's week 10 through 15. So this will give you a brief overall description of the project and the scenario. And I want to describe this scenario for a few minutes for you. Basically, this project, you're going to be pretending that you've been hired by a local restaurant to write new content for their website. And you're also going to be involved in the design process as our textbook laid out. The author really stresses that content writers should be intimately involved with the entire design, both the structure and the look of the website. And so for this assignment, you're not going to actually create a website, but you're going to kind of create the parameters or the pieces of the puzzle that as a content writer you'd want to be involved in. And so the first thing you have to do is you have to choose a local restaurant. It can be any restaurant. You don't need to get, the restaurant doesn't need to rewrite their content or anything like that on the website if they even have one. You just have to pretend that you've been hired to write content for this restaurant that you've chosen. Then, after you choose a restaurant, what I want you to do is I want you to go spend some time over the next week or so getting coffee, maybe getting a meal if you want to spend the money, but spending some time in this restaurant observing the clientele. And so this is, let's go to week 2 now, or to week 1, I'm sorry, of this project, part 1. And this is audience research. And so this is what's going to be called, what I've just been describing is what's called your brick and mortar research. This is where you go to the actual business and you sit and you observe. Take some notes, go and maybe even go and just do some homework there for a couple hours. And, every 15 minutes, take a break from your homework and look around and see who's in the restaurant. And maybe keep a tally. If it's a really busy restaurant, that's really up to you how you go about it. You obviously may not want to do this on a Friday or Saturday night when they're limited on tables, but whatever works with your schedule and obviously works with the restaurant I'm sure will be fine. You may want to spend some time talking to the servers or a manager, if possible. And the one thing that I would be interested in asking a server or manager about this business is you know, what kind of fluctuations do they have? Do they have a very specific crowd on, let's say, weekday mornings versus a particular type of crowd that they have on a Friday or Saturday night? And how do those crowds differ? Because what your goal is here when you're looking for the audience for a website is that you want to be able to build the personas that are coming up, but more importantly is you want to just get a good overall demographic idea of who comes and spends money at this restaurant. And then of those people who come and spend money at this restaurant, which of those clients or patrons are going to actually be using the internet or would potentially use the internet to gain more information about this restaurant that they like to visit. And so you're doing demographics research basically when you're spending time in the brick and mortar business. Then for this week, you're going to develop 3 personas here. You can see each persona needs to include these items. And then you're going to talk about the audience. And now this isn't necessarily the audience who goes to the brick and mortar business, but this is the audience who will be visiting the website. Who of the people who go to this restaurant are actually going to be using this website? And that may be, you know, a limited group. It may be people who are looking for phone numbers or looking for menus on their phone to order in at work. It may be people who are looking to see what the specials are before they go out to dinner on a Friday night. I don't really know, but that's what you need to determine. Then after this, you need to do a business site purpose. And so basically here, this again, you're laying out for the client, which in this case, this is your imaginary business owner, what or restaurant owner, what's the purpose of this website? What is this website going to bring to their business? And so I want you to spend some time answering these questions. And so all of this, everything that you're working on here, will all occur in this one single document. And so I want you to keep this document organized. I want nice headers and, you know, breaking up each part of the project. So when you're looking at this part, this would be part 1. And so you'd want to put a header in here, something like part 1. And this is audience research is roughly the heading. And then you could go through and put in each of these. So this would be brick and mortar research, might be your notes here. And then, and you might want to make this a little bigger. Basically what I'm getting at here is I want this to be a pretty nice, organized, easy to read document that has all of your content underneath. And it's really up to you as to how you go through and organize that, as long as it's legible and easy to follow. If you have any questions this week, don't hesitate to ask. As I mentioned in the email that I sent out the other day, the due dates in here are suggested due dates. I'm not going to go into your document on April 21st at midnight and make sure every single thing is done. If you've got some things that you need to wrap up or you're still working on, that's okay. But as I encouraged in that email, I would not get behind. Overall, this is, if you take care of each week, it's not overwhelming. But, you know, if you let this all slide to the finals week, it's going to be a pretty daunting task. So manage your time, balance it out well. If you have any questions, come see me or send me an email. If you have any more complicated questions, I'm happy each week for each part. I'm going to be creating a new video where I can answer any questions that might be popping up. So good luck and stay in touch.